Hey there, Casey Dimon here, TaxSaleAcademy.com. Over the weekend on the national news, there's a story about an unfortunate tax sale investor. I also received a number of emails about this same story asking my opinion on it. Now, if you didn't catch that story, there's a link down below. But essentially, a Florida man paid $9,100 at a tax deed sale, and he thought he was purchasing a villa worth $177,000. Unfortunately, it ended up being a 1 foot wide strip of land with no real value. What I want to do is a quick case study on this specific story. Now, in the Tax Sale Academy, I'm going to do a much more in-depth study, but since I've had so many requests on my opinion, I want to do one for YouTube as well. And I really want to use this as a way to help educate you guys on what to look for. So we'll be going over a few of the red flags that should have popped out when this gentleman was doing his research. Before we start that though, I want to address a few things. Number one, don't use this as an opportunity to judge somebody else's mistakes. Instead, use it as an opportunity to learn. Everybody makes mistakes, and if we can learn from our own mistakes as well as some mistakes that are made by others, it'll make this business much easier for everybody. Number two, there are thousands of comments posted on this article across multiple websites, and so many people are asking the question, why? Why would the county even sell this property in the first place? It's a good question, but it's important to understand that the county, they didn't have discretion whether they wanted to sell that property or not. They were required by state law to follow certain standards and a certain process when the taxes on that property went delinquent. They didn't have a choice. So understand that the county is just following the state law. Number three, an important point to discuss that a lot of people were asking about is, can't the county just offer a refund? And the same thing applies. Because of the state law, because of state statute, they can't just simply give him a refund. Number four, all properties that are sold at tax sale auctions are sold. Buyer beware. A good bit of what I do every single day is I educate people on how to research tax sale properties. Now, obviously here on YouTube, I've got 500 plus videos, but inside the Tax Sale Academy, that's where we really go into a lot of detail on how to research these properties. Your research equals your results. It's as simple as that. As sad as it might seem, the gentleman, he actually purchased exactly what the county intended to sell. And number five, situations like these, they happen on a daily basis. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of similar situations happen throughout my career. Now, for some reason, this particular story has a lot of media traction, but every single day, there are valueless properties that are sold at tax sales. We're talking about strips of land, retention ponds, sidewalks, easements, landlocked parcels, all sorts of stuff. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at my computer screen, and I'm going to show you a few of the things that should have been red flags when you're researching this particular property. All right, we're going to start on the Broward County Tax Deed Auction website. We're actually going to start on the web page for this specific piece of property that we're talking about. On the right-hand side at the top, you'll see the bid amount of $9,100, which was the winning bid. Now, if we were to click this details right here, it drops down and gives us a little bit of information that we'll touch on shortly. But if you click parcel number, that actually links up to the property appraiser's report on this property. And we're going to work our way from the very top to the bottom, and I'm going to point out some of the red flags. The very first one, site address, says Northwest 100th Way, Tamarack, Florida 33321. Notice that there is no building number on this property. Now, if the gentleman thought he was purchasing a vacant piece of property, that's not an issue. But because he thought he was purchasing a residence or a villa, there should be the street numbers for that piece of property. Most counties in the state of Florida actually require that in order to get the certificate of occupancy, you have to apply for and receive the building numbers or the 911 address. Now, to the right side of that, you'll see something called use. This is the use code of the property as dictated by the county. Our use code is 00. If we pull up use codes in Broward County, you'll see 00 represents vacant residential property. So it is vacant. There's two red flags. Now we can work down. This is the abbreviated legal description. Northwood 2, lot 137. So far, so good. But if you look right here, it says NLY 1 feet. Now, if we go back to the tax deed page, you'll see the legal description here. It says the northerly 1 foot of lot 137 in this particular subdivision. So that indicates the only thing that they are selling is the north 1 foot of that particular lot. So right there, it tells you that's a 1 foot strip of land. Let's work our way down a little bit. You look at the values here. The tax assessed value for the land itself is $50. That should be a red flag. For the building or improvements, there is no value whatsoever, so that should indicate that there's no building on this property. Now we scroll down to the bottom, sales history. If we look at 1988, there was a warranty deed for $885,000. If you actually take a look at that deed, you'll notice that it is for the entire subdivision when it was sold to the developer prior to them developing the property and splitting up all the lots into the individual villas. You'll notice that there was never a villa sold. There was never a piece of property sold since that time, and it has been left over since 1988. The one above it, of course, in March 2019, is the tax deed transaction for $9,100 that we're discussing. Over to the right-hand side of that, you'll see land calculations, type, square footage, SF for square footage. Next to that factor, 100. This is a 100 square foot lot. Now, if we're to click on photographs, we'll click on photographs right here and it brings up this photograph. More than likely, the gentleman that purchased this at tax sale saw this photograph and thought he was buying one of the villas in the background. He's actually buying this strip of land right in the middle, and he's not even buying the entire strip of land. He's buying a 1 foot section of that strip of land. So it's very important to understand that the photograph that you're looking at, while it might be deceiving, it actually does show the piece of property that the gentleman was purchasing. Now we can even pull this up on GIS records. And we'll go to the GIS map, and this is what is popping up for us on the GIS records. So GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. It's an incredible tool if you've never used it before. But what you'll see is you'll basically have a red line. That red line illustrates for us that this is a strip of land. And of course, on the right-hand side, we can verify that this parcel number and everything matches the parcel number that we are actually doing our research on. Now, of course, when you are buying this property, it's very important to understand the value of that property. So even if you thought it was a villa, you need to, of course, understand the comps that surround it. So one of the things that I do is I click on the properties that are adjoining to this property to see what they're worth. So if we were to click on this property, we click on this one right next door, and it shows us this big square here. Click on the other one to the other side, to the south, it shows us again another big square, and all we have is that little line in the middle. So if you did think that the piece of property that was being sold was attached to a villa, but you went on GIS and then you clicked on the properties around it to get a comparable value for that property, right away, this should be another red flag. So as you can see, there are a number of different things to look for. It's important that when you're researching properties, you're really doing deep research. Don't just glance at a few photos or an address, but instead, take the time to review the value, the comps, the parcel numbers, the title history, GIS, and everything else related to that property. And of course, as you review this stuff, make sure you completely understand what you're looking at. Guys, I really hope this has helped some of you to avoid a similar situation in the future. If this video did help, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and click that thumbs up button. And as always, if you'd like to get a free copy of the Tax Sale Playbook, just head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. I bought the book for you. Just help us to cover the nominal shipping cost to get it from our warehouse to your front door. Again, the book itself is free, but I want to ship you a physical copy. And of course, if you're looking for the most in-depth training that we offer, again, head to TaxSaleAcademy.com, click on Join, and become a member of the Academy. Guys, I really hope this has helped some of you. Take care. Bye-bye.